Have you ever found it so frustrating, so hard, so difficult, and perhaps at times impossible to get off a drug, to get off a certain painkiller that is so convenient to get, perhaps from the next convenience store, or if you're in Singapore, the next Guardian, the next Watson's, the next supermarket, whatever it is. Because of the convenience, you find it so hard to say no whenever you have a symptom, and that leaves you with this despair, that leaves you with this skepticism. It makes you frustrated, it makes you stressed, it makes you fearful, it makes you anxious, and guess what? You're now not living your life as you want it to be. You start avoiding social activities, you start avoiding recreational activities with your loved ones, your friends, your family, because you are unable to see past taking that drug so that you can live your life to the fullest. Now, if that's you, I want to speak to you in this video real quick about the shame and condemnation that comes with chronic drug use. I want to talk to you about five different articles that are so recent that point towards how when someone is stuck in disease or stuck in pain, doesn't quite matter as long as you're popping a pill that's not natural, that doesn't support your natural self-healing capabilities. As long as that's what you're doing, you run the risk of having a psychological bondage to the drug, and that will keep you in that vicious cycle of pain and disease. And I say this without going into religion or without going into God, but just looking at creation, looking at how you and I were designed for health. None of us were designed here on earth to just rot away and to die. We all have a purpose, we all have an assignment, and to do that, we need good health. And how many of us actually on the road to the last day of our lives actually have these subliminal levels of disease, and we are kept on a low-level medication regime by the medical system because they say just in case you, sir, you, ma'am, have a relapse, or if you want to prevent this disease from ever recurring, you got to be on this low-level dosage. How many of us actually said yes to that suggestion, and now you are not living your lives to the fullest? Perhaps there are certain things that you can't eat. Perhaps your dependency is getting worse, where you feel certain stress and fear and guilt and depression, and all these things are what I want to talk to you about today, because research clearly shows that more than just the physiological healing of the disease, there's actually an exponential increase in the psychological barrier to recovery. And in healthcare, you guys would know the red flags, the emergency, the life-threatening, the death looming type of situations, and those are the things that people typically are aware of, that you never want to get there. But also documented in research is the yellow flags to recovery, and those are the psychosocial barriers to recovery from pain and disease. And that's what is not often talked about, but is so well documented in research. So just for the next 2-3 minutes, guys, I want to talk to you about this, and I want to give you a call to action at the end so that you can take hold of what I'm talking about today. Now, drugs are convenient to access, like I said before, with crazy technology and just supermarkets and stores opening up with off-the-counter medications everywhere, but they must not be the end-all be-all. Because in this research article in 2016, just less than a decade ago, we talked about how long-term painkiller therapy often fails to resolve the underlying cause. And in your brain, because you never get to the underlying cause, compensation form and form and form, and then compound on each other, and then compound on each other, and then compound on each other. Just like the compound interest of your money in the bank, right? It gets more and more and more. The longer you wait to get to the root cause, it gets worse. And guess what? It leads to psychological distress, often resulting in shame and guilt related to dependency. Again, what are you dependent on? Something external. You're no longer dependent on something that's internal, which is what God designed you and I to do, which is to heal from within, to heal by yourself, given the right tools and ingredients. Now, the second research talks about how medication is a symptom escape for most people. You think that just because you have access to the drug, the moment you feel that symptom, you go, okay, I don't have to worry about the root cause. I just need to get by. And I get it, right? Sometimes if you're in a meeting, you are about to go overseas and you just cannot help it, those convenience will work wonders for you. That's why I'm never saying drugs are bad for you. They are just not the end-all be-all solution, and they have devastating effects if you do not see that. Okay, so that second one. Now, the third one is also this myth of symptom control. Okay, related to what I just talked about, when we talk about being away from the root cause for as long as you drag, as long as you willfully drag, what that does to your brain neurologically, it starts to cause neural connections into your emotional centers. So those things that make you go, I feel happy, I feel good, the natural painkillers, the natural feel-good hormones, the endorphins, the serotonins, the melatonin, all these different hormones that can make you feel good. Guess what? Chronic pain or chronic disease that is not dealt at the root cause ends up intervening in those areas. It's not intervening, my bad. It starts to intertwine with those emotional areas, and guess what? That is where chronic pain and chronic disease becomes social. It becomes emotional. Okay. Now, this next article talks about long-term psychological impact, right? That every person that they have studied in this article review in 2017 actually talks about how people who internalize shame and guilt further complicates the patient's mental health and healing process. And they did a study on how people who actually started going on drugs, the tendency to actually be on a drug is actually associated with that person's mental health status. So if you are going into your pain or going into your disease or going to your next doctor's visit where he or she may recommend you certain drugs to be on for a long time or even a short-term use, if you are already mentally unstable, perhaps you are stressed out at work, perhaps you just got broken up with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, perhaps you just had a divorce, all these kinds of stressors that I talk about in other videos on my site, any kind of stress that is already compromising your mental state, and if you're going into your doctor's office and he or she recommends you those drugs, you are likely to take those drugs because you're already mentally unstable. Again, this lends credibility and strength to that argument that drugs have a psychological lure and a psychological barrier or psychological trap to pull yourself out from because of the way it is designed. The symptom relief, the quick fix, the temporary relief, the microwave mentality, I just gotta get it done. And because of the convenience of those drugs, everywhere, every corner you turn, it is a lot more perpetuated that way. Okay, now I've just gone through a couple of key articles that I wanted to talk about regarding the science of why drug use can be condemnatory, can be shameful. I want to really hit it home for you that if you are at this stage where either pain or disease is plaguing you, and you are watching this video not by chance, not by accident, not by coincidence, that people have actually directed you to this video, and you go, I'm on this 7-day trial, I want to look a lot deeper, I want to go deeper with Dr. Ben, I want to go through all the factors of treatment, not just the physical aspect, not just getting over that pain, or not just getting another diagnosis with my disease, or not just taking another supplement, not just taking my diet, but I really want pastoral care. Okay, again, it's not a Christian thing, it is just a shepherd taking care of the sheep. When a shepherd takes care of the sheep will tell everything to the shepherd. The sheep will go, I need help, and he will recognize that he needs help, and as a result, the shepherd says, I'm here to help you because I am your guide. So let me be that guide for you, sir, ma'am, brother, sister. If you are struggling, this next, in the description link down below, you will see different calls to action, and I want you to really click that 3T interest call, because in that free 30-minute call, just for one person, just for that particular disease that we're talking about, I will give you a free, pretty substantial spill on your disease or on your chronic pain. And that's where, when we go into that, I will then open up that question if you want to work with me or not. So no frills, no hassle, no commitment required. If you have a half an hour available on that day, click my Calendly link in that description box down below, and I will see you online so that we can talk about that call. If you are struggling to maybe jump on Zoom and you want to jump on a call, that's fine by me too. You can actually get access to my number on my website. It's all in the description box down below. But however it is, guys, a 30-minute clarity call on your disease is something that I want to offer you. So if that's the case, please click the link down below. Or if you want to go, I want to read more about it, there's also the same name, 100% Healing for Any Disease, free PDF that goes along with this membership site. So if you want to click that link as well, just to have a good read, at the end there will also be a link to register for the free 3T interest call. So whatever it is, guys, this offer is free. It's not going to cost you anything, but it will cost you your time and attention. And I believe if you are already watching this video, if you made it to the very end, you are at this stage where you are suitable to be treated in this way. So I hope this blesses you, this gives you clarity. But again, if there's more clarity that you need, the video will tell you more. Hope to see you soon.